Hello and welcome to CloudTech by Mango. Today we are going to demonstrate how to deploy an EC2 instance in AWS Cloud. So EC2 instances is nothing but a server you are deploying in the AWS Cloud, just like having your physical computer at home. So it's much easier, using the cloud. You just click a couple of buttons and able to deploy your computer for yourself. So let's go ahead and look at my dashboard. So if you click on the dashboard on the left, what you are seeing here is basically all the resources that currently I'm using in AWS Cloud. As you can see, I have one instance running, but I am going to demonstrate how to deploy an instance. Let's go ahead and get started. So on the left, I'm going to go ahead and click on instances. And the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and click on launch instance. So this will allow me to deploy an EC2 instance. First thing I'm going to do is type the name for my server. So it can be like a web server or a database server. So I'm just going to say server 1 for my demonstration. And then you're going to select the operating system. So with AWS Cloud, you can basically select different operating systems. So there's Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu Linux, Windows, Microsoft Windows, Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, or Debian if you're interested. So for my purpose, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at Amazon Linux, as it has a lot of tools built in. It's more user friendly to the cloud. And then I'm going to go ahead and leave the AMI as it is. So AMI is the Amazon machine image. Basically, is the blueprint of how this PC will be built. So, and for the architecture, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 64-bit also. And then for the instance type, basically we have the option to select, how big of a PC you want, the number of CPUs you want, and how much RAM you want. And it goes all the way up to pretty high, like 8 CPUs and 32 gigs of RAM. There you can even go much higher, like 96 CPUs, 192 gigs of RAM, even higher. So depending on your need, there are different capabilities of instance types available. But for our purpose, for this demonstration, we're just going to pick a T3 Micro, which is a very smaller version with 2 CPUs and 1 gig of RAM. And then for the we're going to go ahead and select key pair. Basically is used to accessing SSH into your instance using a party session or any other SSH client outside of the AWS cloud. And in order to access that, you need to either create a new key pair or select one from one that you already have created. So I'm going to go ahead and select AD key. And then the next, we have to select the part of the what VPC we're going to be deploying this instance. So basically VPC is like your main network, and then you would have sub networks where you divide your main network. So we'll get into another video on how to do VPCs and subnetting. But in this video, I'm just going to select existing current default VPC, and this subnet is perfectly fine for me. And first, then you have to select the security group. So security group is, as you can see here, is nothing but like a firewall rule. Basically have your inbound rules and outbound rules. So I'm going to go ahead and select my default VPC security group as my default group. And basically this is going to tell me what IP address and what ports to be allowed to incoming and outbound. Also you can configure to my instance. And then for the storage wise, 8 GB GP3 type is perfectly fine for me for my root volume where the operating system will be installed. And so there are other additional configuration that you can do as well. So for this purpose, so the things like Active Directory for AD join, IAM for authentication, different configurations are available for advanced, and you can even put scripts in here as well. But for this purpose, we're just going to go ahead and do a basic EC2 deployment. So I'm going to go ahead and click launch EC2 instance. And this is going to basically launch the instance for us. And as you can see, it's succeeded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and then go into details. And once I click on it and go into details, as you can see, basically, it has the name, what I gave it, and then the IP address, public IP address and the private IP address are the main things, and then again the instance type, VPC ID, the main network ID, and the subnet ID, the subnetworks ID. And again, if you go down a little bit further, you can see the AMI ID, which is damage and machine image, which basically gives a blueprint of the instance. And then also we have the key pair that's been used. So anytime you want to access the instance, you can look at your key by scrolling down here. Yeah, so just a basic deployment, and then you want to make sure to click on the status and alarms, make sure initializing, and give it some time for it to complete. You can always go to monitoring, say your CPU utilization, network utilization, in and outbound bytes. And if you click on the network tab again, it will give you more networking information, your main network, VPCs, subnet IDs, the availability zone. So with AWS, you have availability zone. So basically you have redundancy for as how the circuits are connected. So you have two availability zones, meaning US East 1A and US 1 AZ1 zone ID. So if you have more than one availability zone configured, then you have more redundancy. Depending on what you're configuring, you want to make sure additional redundancy. Again, so you can see the public IPs, the private IP address, etc. And then now I'm going to go to the storage, and you can see the volume ID, and then your mount point, the device mount point, and the volume size is 8 GB. As you can see, currently it's in use and attached. So everything looks good. We do not have encryption here, but it's okay for this demonstration. So the next thing I want to demonstrate is how to connect to this instance. So if I click on connect here, instead of using a party session, is the easiest way to get to Amazon Linux instance. I'm going to go ahead and click connect, and as you can see, we are using the public IP address to connect, and your default username is EC2-user. And I do want to demonstrate here, this will actually not work, and I will explain the reason later. Okay, so this one didn't work because and I'm going to demonstrate that here. So if I look at my security in here, and if you look at the inbound rules, right now I'm not allowing the source IP ad, or the source security groups uses this. I'm not allowing the source of my IP address, my public IP address that I'm using at home. So I'm going to go ahead and open this security group in a new tab, and we're going to go ahead and click on edit inbound rules. This is going to allow me to add more rules. So as you can see, right now my IP address is not allowed. It's specific to whatever is allowed on this security group. So I'm going to go ahead and click add rule. I'm going to basically allow all TCP. So I'm only interested in all TCP. And for port ranges, basically 0 to 65,535 is the port range. And for the IP address, you can do any, but it's not recommended. For this purposes, I'm just going to basically use my IP address. So basically, we have the option to select it from here. AWS make it much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and click save rule, and we're going to try to connect again with the allowing my IP address. And if I go ahead and click connect again using EC2-user, I'm going to click connect. It didn't kick in yet because I just configured it. So let's give it some time. And so I'm going to go back to my EC2 instances and go back to the one that I created. So click on it and then click connect and hit connect again. Okay, for some reason this is not working. Okay, so basically, as you can see, there was a little bit of a hiccup with the connection. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So basically, there was some modification that needs to be done. So let me go ahead and open a new window for the security group. And if I go ahead and click on inbound, so last time what I did was I selected my IP address here. So instead of having my IP address, I had to actually allow all the IP address for public IP, because we are connecting within the VPC inside of AWS cloud. So that's the reason why it didn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and save this rule, and basically, so nothing was changed. So I'm just going to click cancel. As you can see, it's already having any source IP. So let's go ahead and try to connect now. Let's go ahead and go to instance and go to the instance that I created, and go ahead and click connect again using the EC2-user, and I'm going to click connect. And as you can see, it actually worked this time. I'm able to connect. So, and basically it actually tells you the your IP address as well. As you can see, this is your private IP address. So let's go ahead and just look at the directory. As you can see right now, I'm on the EC2-user home EC2, and if we can look at the home directory and do different things. So basically this is how you deploy the EC2 instance, and how you could connect. So that's briefly how to deploy the EC2 instance. And so we'll go ahead and stop for here for now. And okay, so that's basically how you would briefly deploy an EC2 instance, and then how to connect to it internally. So basically, yeah, so and then we'll have additional videos into more details of networking and into AWS cloud. Again, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the thumbs up button. And again, thanks for watching CloudTech by Mango.